In this lesson, let's learn about the trigonomic function for cosine 2α. 三角関数 cos2αの公式. First, let's discuss the double angle formula. The addition theorem for cosines is cosine times alpha plus theta in parentheses equals cosine alpha cosine theta minus sine alpha sine theta. Replacing theta in the equation with alpha, we get cosine times alpha plus alpha in parentheses equals cosine alpha minus sine alpha, or in other words, cosine squared alpha minus sine squared alpha. From sine squared alpha plus cosine squared alpha equals 1, we get cosine squared alpha minus sine squared alpha equals 1 minus sine squared alpha in parentheses minus sine squared alpha equals 1 minus 2 sine squared alpha. We also get cosine squared alpha minus sine squared alpha equals cosine squared alpha minus 1 minus cosine squared alpha in parentheses equals 2 cosine squared alpha minus 1. These two are solutions for the formula for the double angle of cosine. Next, let's use this formula to solve an example problem. Let's solve for cosine 2α when pi over 2 is less than alpha and alpha is less than pi. Also, when sine alpha equals 3 over 5. Cosine 2α equals 1 minus 2 sine squared alpha. Substitute sine alpha equals 3 over 5 into the formula. And we end up getting 1 minus 18 over 25 equals 7 over 25. Now let's do some practice. Press the pause button and try to solve the practice problem. Once you're finished, press the resume button and mark what you got correct. Now let's check our answers. Cosine 2α equals 2 cosine square alpha minus 1. This time, because we know the value of cosine alpha, we'll use the following equation. Cosine 2α equals 2 cosine square alpha minus 1. Doing that, we get 2 times 5 over 13 in parentheses squared minus 1. And from that, we get negative 119 over 169. Finally, let's review what we have learned. The double angle formula for cosine is cosine 2α equals 1 minus 2 sine squared alpha, which equals 2 cosine squared alpha minus 1. That concludes this lesson.